Hello, 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 and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Beverly, and you are watching For the Love of Cooking Fridays. What do I do on Fridays? I try to show you how to make a delicious meal that is always better than the restaurant. It is always better than the restaurant. So what are we making today, Beverly? Well, today we are making something a little Asian, something that I really love to make, and that is beef and broccoli. And we are making it with the wok. And the one thing about using a wok is everything cooks really, really fast. So because everything cooks really fast, you have to have all your preparation ready. You have to have mise en place, meaning that all your ingredients, your vegetables are all chopped, all your seasonings are all measured out, and you are ready to go. So let me introduce our ingredients to you. First here, I have a flank steak. So this flank steak, what I did was I did kind of a dry brine on it, meaning that I salted it on yesterday and I let it just sit in the refrigerator overnight. And then what I did in making and cutting my strips, I wanted to make sure that I cut against the grain of the meat. So this is something that I learned that I want you to know. So the grain of the meat is going this way, if you can see the grain. So I'm cutting against the grain, and I'm cutting my slices really nice and thin. And by now, this should melt in one's mouth. My meat is all sliced, and this piece of meat cost me, I think it was $14. So it's $14. And it's gonna feed probably 4. With the rice and the broccoli, it's gonna feed 4. I am also adding some red peppers for color. We have some broccoli, and you can decide how much broccoli you want. I love broccoli. We have some cornstarch that we are going to put on the meat. We have some brown sugar. This is 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. This is a teaspoon of cornstarch. This is a teaspoon of onion powder and garlic powder. I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I also have a cup of vegetable broth. You can also use beef broth, but I have vegetable broth, and sesame seed oil, which we are going to use. And we have some oyster sauce. And this is mirin, and I believe that's how you pronounce it. We have some sesame seeds, and of course we have our white rice. And to give it the zing that it needs, we have some ginger. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to chop up my ginger, and I'm gonna get my wok ready. I already have my water boiling for the rice. I put my rice in airtight containers. I usually use Uncle Ben's rice, but when I buy rice that's not Uncle Ben's, I always make sure that I cut out the directions, if you can see that, of how to cook that rice. So I always know when I'm using Uncle Ben's and I'm using other. For today, I'm using other. All right, let's get this party started. Are you with me? Are you really with me? Come on with me. Okay, so I have my water boiling for the rice. It is 2 cups of water. To that, I'm gonna add 1 bouillon cube. When I cook rice, I always use bouillon cube to flavor the rice. So it's 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. And we're just gonna pour that in there. Stir that and let that come back to a boil, and then we're going to turn it down and we're going to let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Okay, while my rice is cooking, I'm going to grate my ginger. I have this little grater. It doesn't cost a lot. It's from the dollar store. Ginger smells so good. And this is just about an inch of ginger. And it's going to be right there on the back of there. Okay, so this is about a teaspoon of ginger. So we have that. I have my rice simmering. Okay, now we're going to put together the marinade or the sauce for our meat. So we have our flank steak here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the soy sauce. This is the onion powder and the garlic powder. This is 2 teaspoons of brown sugar that don't want to come out. The cornstarch. The vegetable broth. And then the oyster sauce. I think I'm going to use about a tablespoon. I love oyster sauce. I use this a lot for my shrimp with lobster sauce. Oyster sauce. And we're going to mix that in. And then we have our mirin. And mirin, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, it is like a Chinese wine. And we're going to add in about 1/4 cup. And we're just going to mix this all. And I'm using my whisk. And I think I have everything. Oh, we don't. Sesame oil. A few drops of that. Probably about a teaspoon. And now you can really smell everything. We have our ginger. Want to get every little bit of that. Ooh, the smell. Now I'm going to take our beef and I'm just going to put it in there. Just like that. All right. So we have our rice going. I had to get another pot for the broccoli. And waiting for that to boil. As soon as that boils, we'll take care of that. In the meantime, I can put all this other stuff away. So our broccoli is ready. So I'm going to show you how I literally just scoop it out after 5 minutes. And I put it in this ice. Just like this. And it stops the cooking process. It is perfectly tender. And we'll take it out in a few minutes. So I am taking the broccoli out of the ice cold water. And you can see how beautifully green it is. And now that the rice is done, and now we're gonna turn on the wok. And I have about a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And I have my peppers ready and my meat ready. And we're gonna take it from there. But this is the step-by-step that the reels don't show you. Broccoli ready. I have our red peppers ready, and I also have some onions that I decided to add. So we're going to cook the vegetables first, but first we're going to let this get to a smoking consistency. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to put the vegetables in. Like this. I found some mushrooms. I'm gonna just take a little bit, just a few dabs of sesame seed oil, a little salt, a little pepper, I'm going to take these out and set them to the side. Then we're going to bring our beef over. I think we're going to cook it in 2 batches. Mix up a little bit. This is the second batch. And now I'm going to put everything together. That was the marinade, all the vegetables, the broccoli, I'm going to turn this down. There it goes. Beef and broccoli. Looks beautiful.